Good evening, everybody. Hey, I just want to do a quick update on my fig plants. I've moved a good majority of these outside, and what you see down here are all brand new cuttings that have been up potted from the lasagna style rooting method. But today I just want to do a quick update on some of the grafts that I did, the black Madeira grafts. So here's one. This one is a black Madeira on a MVSB, Marseilles VS Black. It's taking really well and it's growing really well. Here's another one. This one is a Fiorone de Ruvo. I know I'm probably butchering these names, but that's what you're gonna get. This is on top of a Gillette rootstock. This one is a Bourjasotte Grise on a Gillette. Thanks. Okay, well, let's take a couple of take a look at some of the graftings that I made that didn't work out so well. So this is an Emalyns purple on a, I believe, a Gillette or DK rootstock. You can see that there's good leaf structure. The only problem is the leaves are coming out of the rootstock versus the scion. So, not exactly the result that I wanted, but still a pretty successful rooting nonetheless. Just the wrong variety. So this was one of those cuttings that I did where I grafted two cuttings together and then rooted it. So some of them took, not all of them did. This is a Bourjasotte grafting that I did. I believe it's on a Gillette as well. And this has leaves coming out of the bottom. Now typically, I would break them off if I saw some budding coming out of the scion so that all the energy would go into the scion versus the rootstock. But this is not exhibiting any new growth. If I break this off, I feel like I'm kind of wasting a perfectly good plant. So I'll leave it kind of as is. And, if that scion decided to grow out a new bud, then who knows, I might be lucky enough to have a two variety fig tree. Here's another graft. This is a black Madeira graft onto a Desert King rootstock. So the rootstock was actually an established plant that was less than a year old, really. So this, you can see, leaves are actually coming out of the scion and not the rootstock. So that is a successful grafting. Let's see what else we have in here. So I keep these cups on top of the graft so that way, it increases the humidity and gives it a better chance at not drying out and desiccating. I do have buddy tape on these, but adding the cup is just kind of an insurance. So this one's not doing much, except if you look down here, there's some green. That's actually a fig growing out of the rootstock, and I haven't plucked it off, so that's probably why the energy hasn't been going into the scion. It's all been going into this underground fig. Whatever. I'll just leave it there. It's like a potato fig. Here's another grafting that I did. This is a Socorro black on top of a DK. And same thing, scion hasn't taken, but I've got leaves coming out of the rootstock. So it is what it is. I'll just kind of leave it as is for now. Here's another one. Emalyns purple on a, I believe it's Gillette cutting. And so this one is exhibiting some bud growth right here at the top, which means what I'll probably do is sacrifice this little stem. Sorry, little stem. You gotta go. It's for the greater good. And I'll put the cup right back on it. What's this one? Another Socorro black. No bud quite yet, but there are leaves coming out of the rootstock, and I'll just leave that alone. Okay. What is this? Oh, look at that. Look at my Pellegrino. That one's rooting out really nicely. I have to say thanks to a couple of buddies who sent me this. I've been lucky. That turns out to be a really big fig. What's this here? So, you know, I've been playing around with this baggy method, and the method seems to work really well. This is a Malta Purple I got from Harvey. Good leaves on there. And you can see that I've got it open like this. And this is just Coco Core HB Pro Mix and Perlite. And here's another black Madeira graft that I did. This one is Gillette rootstock. Gillette just, you know, this thing roots like a weed. It's so easy. It's a Capra fig that's edible. It's delicious. It's delicious in its own right, but it's also a great rootstock for the Northwest. So this is black Madeira on a Gillette. This one is looking pretty good. Check this out though. You see that little stem right there? So that came off of the rootstock. I plucked it off, just stabbed it into the ground. Back into the pot. I didn't think it's going to survive, but it looks like it's doing pretty good on its own. Okay, here's another black Madeira graft that I did. Another one, I'm not sure, probably DK rootstock. It's doing pretty well. I have the bag on it because it was looking a little dry when I brought it into the house, so I wanted to keep the humidity up, make sure the graft is taking, and that one is doing pretty good. So I just want to follow up on that hydroponic project that I started. It was a complete and utter fail. I think the fig cutting that I used was just too small, too unestablished, and the root system wasn't good enough. So I think I'll try this again, but later on in the summer, and maybe with more hydrogen in there, so that way the cutting doesn't get too wet. It basically died and drowned. But the other problem was I went on a week-long vacation, so I never got a chance to kind of check up on it, make sure it wasn't drowning in the water, and so it died. As of now, I took some pepper plants, just kind of threw it in there, and if they sprout, great. If they don't, no big deal. I'll reuse this setup again for another hydroponic project. At the moment, I would say that it's undetermined whether or not you can grow figs hydroponically or, grow them easily hydroponically. I think you can do it with more effort than doing it in soil, obviously. But I think the benefits are there if you want to grow figs hydroponically. You're definitely, if you're successful, you're definitely able to grow it faster and larger. So I won't abandon this project completely. I'll get back to it. Here's an update on my Ponte Tresa cutting that I got. It's been in here since, what is this, 3.7, somewhere around there. So beginning of March, didn't do too much, and it sat in the bag for a long time before it started kicking up some new roots. And check out these roots. It's a pretty strong rooter. Look at the thick roots on this cutting. And what happened was this bag was a little bit too dry, so I added a little bit of moisture, and man, that did the trick because it's going root crazy, and it's also leafing out some new buds here. So I'll probably be up potting this soon enough, maybe another week or two. At the moment, I don't like to up pot cuttings until they show some feeder roots. Right now I call these more of taproot type of roots. and there's a lot of them, so this thing is nice and strong. But there's no real feeder roots yet, and the feeder roots are the ones that really go and provide more of the plumbing for the plant to be able to uptake nutrients, water, and feed it to the leaves. So right now it's looking really good, but it's still probably another week away, or maybe hopefully less. Once it shows some feeder roots, this thing is going into a 1 gallon.